I don't just dislike The Dark Knight Rises. I despise The Dark Knight Rises. I hate this fucking film. I loathe this film with pretty much every fiber of my being. This is one of my most hated films, easily. And I hate it even more now because I have gained a newfound appreciation for the previous films in the series. This is despicable, and to me, this is unacceptable levels of bullshit when it comes to the overall quality of this film. And I know there's a lot of people who disagree, and that's fine, to each their own. But to me, this is a film that deserves every bit of the hate that it gets and then some. The film is directed by Christopher Nolan, and to me personally, he's one of the biggest problems with this film. Because he did not give a flying fuck about this movie. He did this film because he was contractually obligated to direct it, and he did it for the money. He didn't do this because he wanted to. He didn't do this because he had passion for the film or the project or really had any desire to conclude his trilogy. He did this because he had to. But then again, he didn't even have to. He could have said no, and the studio would have been like, hey, it's in your contract. But he could have found a way to get out of it because at this point in time, he was a big enough name in Hollywood. He probably could have flipped the middle finger and been like, no, fuck you. Find someone else to finish this. I don't want to do this because I don't really want to do these movies anymore. And I wish he did, because he's a big reason why the franchise, in terms of the overall structure and the quality and the momentum, just drives off a fucking cliff in a tumbler and crashes and burns because Nolan didn't fucking care. And what's so frustrating about this film is not only the fact that he didn't give a fuck, but also because he's the reason why you don't have someone like Two-Face in this film. A really strong antagonist. Somebody that you already are intrigued about seeing more of. He's the reason why you have to kind of start from scratch with these secondary villains or these characters that don't really build up to much of anything, because of the fact that all the momentum, all of the goodwill, everything that was set up in The Dark Knight, he completely threw away in the trash deliberately. He deliberately wasted Two-Face because he felt that he was smarter than everybody else in the fucking room. That's why Two-Face died at the end of The Dark Knight. Because he felt like he didn't want to do the same thing that the other comic book films were doing at the time. He didn't want to set things up for a sequel. So he went against the plan that David S. Goyer had initially for this third film. And I can't believe that I'm sitting here defending David Goyer of all people, but here I am. He had the right idea from the get-go. Because his initial idea was to have The Dark Knight end with the creation of Two-Face, with Joker scarring Harvey in the courtroom. I don't see why that's a problem. But Nolan, like I said, he felt like he was smarter than everyone else. He felt like he was a genius, a brilliant auteur. So he was like, no, fuck that. I'm going to kill Two-Face. I'm going to kill Harvey Dent. And I'm going to completely waste and ruin Two-Face as a character in my own franchise because I don't want to do the same thing as everyone else because I'm smarter than everyone else. And then on top of that, he has the gall, the audacity to say things like this. I don't want to tease any sequels. A practice has become common amongst comic book movies. Also, I feel that holding back story or leaving a movie open-ended for a sequel on which to build is a cheat to the audience, which deserves to see a movie that has consumed all of the filmmaker's creative energy. And I know some people might be like, what's the big deal about that statement? Why does that upset you so much? For one, at the end of Batman Begins, there's a tease for the Joker. So you didn't have a problem with it then, but now, nope, I don't want to do that. Then, it's hypocritical because at the end of The Dark Knight Rises, he teases Blake as the next Batman. There is no spin-off with Blake as Batman in some pseudo version of Batman Beyond. So you tease the audience with something that never fucking happened in a later film. So you're full of shit. And then on top of that, this statement talk about you don't want to exhaust your creative energy. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit, Nolan, especially when it comes to this film. What creative energy? I'm putting more energy into this fucking video than you did into directing this fucking film. Because the direction in this movie is as lifeless as a fucking corpse. There's no energy to it. There's no sense of size or scope, despite the fact that it's got this massive fucking budget. There's no passion. There's no heart. There's no soul. The fight scenes suck, just like they always have, but on an even worse level, because he doesn't even try to hide the fact that he can't shoot fight scenes anymore. This time around, he's just showing them with open-ended, full, wide shots, and the guy can't fucking hack it, and he doesn't fucking give enough of a fuck when it comes to really putting his best effort into it. So he just says, fuck it. All right, I'm not good, but here we go. Here's our fight scenes that have all the impact of a fucking pillow fight, but here we go. I'm going to show you them in their unfiltered, unedited fucking glory because I'm such an amazing fucking visionary genius director that I don't need a second unit. I don't need a third unit. And you know what, Nolan, you can suck my unit. For haphazardly and just half-assedly going through this entire fucking movie, sleepwalking through the film as a director, producer, and a writer. The fuck out of here with that shit. I want to exhaust all of my energy. Sure as fuck didn't do it with The Dark Knight Rises. So yeah, his direction is a massive problem to me because he's going at it from the perspective of somebody who has their head so far shoved up their own ass they can't even think straight, let alone see what's going on in front of them. And the action sequences are just lackluster. He doesn't really provide a lot of instruction to his cast to really deliver the best possible performances. I mean, this is a guy who didn't give him enough of a fuck to take Tom Hardy aside and be like, hey, that voice isn't going to work, man. It's ridiculous. No one's going to take this seriously. You're going, nobody's going to fucking take you seriously, Tom. We need to come up with something else, man. You're supposed to be this intimidating, badass villain. This match for Batman mentally and physically. And you sound like a fucking Muppet. This is not going to work. No, he didn't care. And there's another example of him not caring that's even more egregious. There's a line flub that was kept in this film in the final cut of the movie. Don't believe me? Pop in this film and watch the sequence with the mayor of Gotham where he's introducing Gordon for a speech. The mayor fucks up his lines and it's kept in the movie. And there was nothing in any of the other films that established that this was a quirky trait of this mayor character. No, he just fucks it up. He goes, blah, 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 blah. And it's kept in the movie because no one didn't give a fuck. And that leads to, in my opinion, the biggest thing that ultimately causes this film to be so crippled and so diseased: apathy. Sheer and utter apathy. From the top with Nolan, pretty much all the way down. The only people that weren't apathetic, that didn't really the only people that actually gave a fuck about this film in terms of their performances, maybe some of the actors, and probably the crew. I give the crew a lot of credit, because the crew in any film deserves a lot more credit from people, because they bust their asses and they don't get nearly enough credit for how hard they work. But other than that, no. I'm not going to sit here and say that apathy wasn't a problem for the majority of the other cast members or the writers, or definitely the writer, producer, and director, Christopher Nolan. And that leads us to the script. This script just infuriates me. It makes my blood boil. It makes me want to punch things. I this script is everything that I fucking hate about an adaptation of a comic or just a screenplay, period. It's bloated, it's overstuffed, there's too many fucking subplots, there's too many fucking characters. It's stretched out to the point of just ridiculousness. There's no reason for this film to have its story play out as long as it does. This is a film that's 2 hours and 44 fucking minutes long, and there's not really a lot of intrigue. There's not a lot of captivating elements to the plot. You don't give a fuck about any of this. And then on top of that, there's all these plot holes that are so massive. They're about as big as the fucking city of Gotham itself. And you're just like, what the fuck? That's really one of the biggest things. You're like, how was this considered acceptable? And the only reason why it was considered acceptable is because they didn't fucking care. So yeah, the script by Jonathan and Christopher Nolan. So it starts off the worst possible fucking way by completely taking a piss and shit all over The Dark Knight in terms of the ending of that film. Which, by the way, I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here. I never liked that ending. I don't feel like it's anywhere near as much of a masterpiece of an ending as so many people make it out to be. If you love it, that's fine. That's cool. Teach their own. That's awesome. But I've always thought the ending wasn't that great. I don't get why everyone's creaming them. Pretty much everyone and their mother is creaming themselves over the ending of The Dark Knight as if it's this brilliant bit of writing. And especially Batman fans who are saying it's the perfect encapsulation of Batman and who he is as a character. Does it make a lot of sense for Bruce to go against his entire morals and be like, no, fuck it. I'm going to take the blame for something I didn't do. I'm going to run away because Harvey Dent, who's a criminal, who killed cops, I'm going to take the blame for what he did because this city needs a real hero. Because apparently I can't be that hero. So I'm going to give up. I'm going to run away and quit on Gotham because it's something that will ultimately help Gotham. What the fuck? Bruce is not going to quit, and he's not going to do that, especially if this perceived peace is all based on a lie. Seriously, how many fucking comics have you read? Oh, it's such a great encapsulation of Batman as a character. Give me a fucking break. That's a bunch of fucking bullshit. And even if you do like that ending, this film fucks it all up. He's gonna be the silent protector of Gotham City. He's gonna be the Dark Knight. No, he's gonna retire for 8 fucking years. And turn his back on Gotham City like an asshole. That's what Batman is going to do. He's going to be a fucking butthole. Butthead. Retire for fucking 8 years. God. And here's the thing, okay, he retired for 8 years because he's a fucking pussy and he's a coward. I mean, Batman in this Nolan trilogy, when you really break things down, he had the shortest run that any superhero or comic book character who at all spent a life fighting crime has probably ever had. And then on top of that, what did he fucking do? He didn't even stop Scarecrow. His girlfriend did. He stopped Roz, okay? And then he stopped Two-Face, I guess. He stopped the Joker. Well, not really, because the Joker still pretty much got away with everything. And I guess he did technically stop the Joker from causing more chaos, but he didn't really stop the Joker when you really get down to it. Oh, he sacrificed himself for the better of Gotham and saved Gotham at the end of The Dark Knight Rises. Okay, fine. He doesn't even stop Bane in this. Bane kicks his ass and breaks his back, and he's not even the one to defeat Bane. Catwoman does. Oh, he doesn't defeat Talia either. She gets defeated by the fucking asphalt because she crashes her fucking tumbler. So, Batman doesn't do that much. And also, when you really start to think about things, you're like, okay, so he ran away from Gotham. He decided to take the fall for what Harvey did to be the hero that Gotham City needs right now, or whatever the fuck that was. And I'm like, okay, so he decided to take the fall for Harvey. But then I'm like, wait a second. Wasn't Batman set up in The Dark Knight as someone who had actually started to make a serious dent in crime in Gotham? But then by the end of The Dark Knight, oh, if he doesn't take the fall for Harvey's crimes, then all these criminals are gonna get released from prison. So? Isn't he fucking Batman? Isn't Batman supposed to be able to handle a few thugs, some criminals? Oh no, he can't do that in this universe, in this trilogy. Why? Oh, because it's realistic. Fuck off with that bullshit. The Dark Knight Rises has Batman flying a fucking tumbler. And an energy source that doesn't exist. So don't give me this fucking shit about realism. He's a fucking pussy. He's a bat bitch. I can't do it. So I have to take the fall. So Gotham City and the government and politics and the police, they can handle it. And they can fix what's going on and what's ailing Gotham, because I can't fucking stop these criminals myself, even though that's my job. That's the only reason why Batman is a thing to begin with and is supposedly important or even really integral to this trilogy, is because he's supposed to stop fucking criminals, but he can't fucking do it for some reason. So then at the beginning of this film, he retires because he's like, I can't do it. And apparently he's also too broken down now. I'm like, where the fuck did this come from? Just one of the many things that the Nolan brothers completely just pulled out of their fucking colons, out of their intestines for this screenplay. Oh, he's now too battered and broken. His knees are fucked up. Where did that fucking come from? Must have come from the sky. Like all the other bullshit that's raining down on you with this fucking film. So, yeah, he's got bad knees and he retired. And for like the first 45 minutes of the story, there's no Batman. You get all these other characters you don't give a fuck about. I don't give a shit about Selena Kyle, this version of Catwoman. Don't care. Don't care about Bane and his silly ass sounding voice. Or the whole sequence that sets him up, which is just a fucking ripoff of the heist sequence in midair from Cliffhanger. And you have all this crap involving the Dent Act. And I call it crap because it is. It's crap. It's crap writing. It's just absolutely smelly, putrid fucking writing. The Dent Act was enacted after Harvey Dent became this hero. And supposedly he sacrificed himself for the better of Gotham. And that led to the politicians and the police working together to pass the Dent Act. And you want to know what the Dent Act is? The Dent Act... Sorry, my nose is just itching right now because I'm just allergic to the bullshit and the just absolutely idiotic fucking storytelling when it comes to the Dent Act. So yeah, the Dent Act is an act that just made it so Gotham had more cops. The reason why the levels of crime went down to almost nothing, the reason why there was relative peace in Gotham for 8 years while Batman was sitting on his fucking ass, was because they got more cops. What? For this so-called realistic trilogy. They didn't come up with that earlier? So I'm supposed to buy that Gotham, a city that at points was falling into the 7th level of fucking hell, didn't try to enact something where they hired more fucking cops and had more cops on the street to fight the increasing levels of crime that were tearing the city apart. If all it took was more cops, then they didn't even need Batman. Why does Batman even need to be a part of this universe? Why does Batman even need to be necessary? If all it takes is more fucking cops to stop the overwhelming flow of crime in Gotham City. Just more cops. Jesus fucking Christ. Gotta be fucking kidding me. So you got more cops, and that's why things are hunky-dory, but now things are starting to unravel because Bane has arrived, and Catwoman is doing some things on the side, and she steals Bruce Wayne's fingerprints in a scene that's just embarrassing and pathetic. Oh, here's Bruce Wayne. He's a fucking cripple now, and he can't do shit, and the first time you see him, he gets completely put on his ass. Wow. All this time, all this hype, Bruce Wayne just falling on his ass, getting tripped up by Catwoman. He might as well have just tripped over his fucking dick or his old saggy balls at this point. God. So yeah, Bane then starts this convoluted plan about Wall Street and finding a way to essentially take away Bruce Wayne's income and all his money, and he's working alongside this other guy who's an insider inside of Wayne Enterprises. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, Bruce Wayne doesn't have a fucking backup plan. He doesn't have a fallback option. He doesn't have something in place for a corporate takeover. But then again, I'm like, this is the same Bruce Wayne who trusts a woman that he's never fucking met or doesn't even know that well with his life. And then on top of that, trusts his entire company with some woman that he met at a party and even said he didn't even like and barely even knows. So this is the same Bruce Wayne who does that. So maybe it isn't much of a stretch that he would be that fucking stupid to not have a backup plan. But then you're like, well, he probably did because then he used the money or did something to spend time with Selina at the end of the movie and retire. But then it's like, if that was the case, then why didn't he enact it in the first place? Then Bane's plan would start to fall apart because I wouldn't have the money to be able to implement it. If he even needed money to begin with, I don't even fucking know. And I don't even fucking care because this is so fucking boring. Who cares? Who gives a fuck about Wall Street insider trading? If I want to see that, I'll watch Wall Street. We're trading places. I don't need to fucking see that in a Batman movie. So that's all going on. You have Commissioner Gordon, and he's conflicted because he's been perpetuating this lie for so long. And then you have Matthew Modine's character, who's this other police captain who ultimately is thrust into the place of Gordon because he gets hurt, and then he's stuck in a hospital bed for a good chunk of the screenplay and the story. So yeah, there's like hours. It feels like hours of nothing. And then when something does happen, oh, Batman, he finally shows up. 45 minutes into the movie, he returns. And it's a forgettable, shitty sequence. He drives around on his bat bike and goes on this really lame chase with Bane and with some cops. Doesn't even get your adrenaline pumping at all. And then, when he's supposed to fight Bane, he doesn't even have a plan. That's how stupid Batman is in this script. Batman is a bat-brained fucking dumbass in this screenplay. It's insulting how poorly the Nolan brothers write Batman in this script, this overall story. I mean, how can you be a fan of Batman and be like, yeah, this is great. This is a fucking masterpiece. 10 out of 10 in terms of how they interpret his character. He's a mouth-breathing fucking moron here. Oh, I don't have a backup plan for a corporate takeover. Oh, I have this technology to help me with my crippled knees that can break bricks, but I don't use it in a fight. In fact, I never use it again. Batman is supposed to be really smart. Isn't Bruce Wayne supposed to be smart and intelligent and use all these things at his disposal? Nah, nope. But he's smart enough to fix the autopilot on the bat. But he's not smart enough to use what he has to his advantage. Oh, he's also not smart enough to have a plan when it comes to fighting Bane. No, he just rushes at him like a punch-drunk customer at a bar. No plan whatsoever. I'm just going to run at him. I'm going to punch him. That's his plan. No plan whatsoever. Just like, I'm just going to fucking bum rush his ass. Oh, and then on top of that, I'm also going to trust Catwoman, a woman who tripped my ass and stole my fingerprints. Yeah, I'm going to trust her too. Oh no, I got trapped? Like, what? Who is Batman getting his advice from in this film? Sting from WCW? Like, oh shit. I thought they were my friend. They stabbed me in the back? What? No. Batman might as well be Mark Wahlberg in The Happening in The Dark Knight Rises, with how many times he's surprised and shocked at how his plan fell through, or he got backstabbed. I mean, it happens so many times. He gets tricked by Catwoman and gets captured. Then he goes into the fight with Bane with no plan. I don't know, maybe you could have fixed the autopilot earlier on the bat, since it seems like you could have done it any time. So then you could use it in your fight with Bane, potentially. Nah, nope. I'm just going to punch him really hard. And even that plan, if you think about it, should have worked better, because he uses the same fucking plan when he fights Bane the second time. He just punches him in the face, but conveniently, when he does it the second time around, it works. And it damages his breathing apparatus. But when he was punching him square in the face multiple times the first fight, didn't do shit. Because this script is shit. And it's just loaded with apathy from everyone involved. Amazing amounts of apathy. So yeah, Batman has no plan when he bum rushes Bane and gets his back broken. And then he trusts this woman for no reason. I mean, other than to keep the plot moving. I mean, why the fuck would you trust Miranda Tate? The first time he meets her is at a party, and he even says on camera, this is actually a part of the script and a part of the dialogue, I don't like her. He doesn't like her. But she's good enough for me to hand the keys of Wayne Enterprises to for some fucking reason. Oh no, she's Talia? And she stabs me? She shanked my ass? What? No! So yeah, this script is so inconsistent in so many different ways. Batman, throughout the majority of it, is a fucking dumbass, but then he's smart enough to find a way to get into Gotham when there is no possible way to get in there, with no money, no transportation, after he found a way to get out of the hole that he was dropped into by Bane after he got his ass kicked the first time around. Oh, he's got a plan then. God. And speaking of plans and idiocy, what the fuck is up with this screenplay having Gordon catch the same case of dumbass-itis that Bruce Wayne has in this script? Oh, I'm gonna send all of the cops, every single cop in Gotham City, to one location. Oh no, they got trapped by Bane? What? No! I mean, Bane's plot it requires so many things to fall into place that it's the epitome of unrealistic. It's fucking fantasy. I mean, Gordon has to be a dumbass, which doesn't really fit his character. But yeah, he's a complete fucking idiot here. I'm gonna send every single fucking cop to one location instead of sending a strike force to take out Bane, who's a sitting duck with his bald head, and it doesn't seem like he really has that much of an army. He has a piss ant army in this film, an army that could have gotten taken out by a strike force, by a SWAT team, a group of military terrorist guys who have experience taking out terrorists. Could have just hired that crew, and they probably would have taken care of Bane in no time flat before he found a way to set up all the bombs. But here's the other thing with the bombs too in the stadium. How the fuck did he and his crew manage to set up that many bombs in a fucking stadium? Or even underneath the stadium? And then also setting up all the bombs across Gotham City. Like, how the fuck did they do that without anyone noticing? And how did they do that so quickly? There's a lot of things in the script that just make you go, how? Like, how did Batman fix his back after it was broken? How did Bruce not die when he failed multiple times to climb out of the hole with a rope tied around his bad back? Because he failed multiple times. He fell, and previously in the film, you saw scenes where people tried to get out, and they fell, and they got caught on the rope, and their back got fucked up again. Why did that not happen? Not once, but twice. How did his back get fixed by some guy just punching him in the back? I've been to the chiropractor, but it's not that fucking easy, and it's not that simple, and that's a slipped disc. It's a herniated disc at the very least. You don't fix that by some guy just punching you in the fucking back. There's also a lot of whys. So there's a lot of hows, and there's a lot of whys. There's too many of them. And in terms of the whys, why is Bane so much of a threat to Batman? He's just a normal fucking average built guy. He doesn't have any steroid enhanced abilities. He's not some master fighter. Why was he so easily able to beat Batman, even if Batman was out of action and retired for as long as he was? Why was it not much of a match? He's just a normal fucking guy. I don't understand. I was made in the darkness. I was molded by it. That shouldn't have any bearing on this. He's just an averagely built guy who has a breathing problem. This Batman should have kicked his fucking ass. But no, that doesn't happen because the script is lazy. We can't have that happen. And we also want to be realistic so we don't have Venom, which takes away the main thing that made Bane intimidating or really any of a match for Batman in the first place. No, let's take away that. We'll just make it so he wears the breathing apparatus because it helps him handle his chronic pain. It just provides some painkillers for Bane so he can think straight. But apparently it's made out of a material that's like time sensitive. So it's really strong and hard and impossible to break for a certain period of time. But then over a span of a few days, it becomes brittle. And then you can punch it and then it'll stop working. And you can finally break it. And fucking... God damn it. Lose my fucking mind talking about this movie. Go fucking insane. Jesus fucking Christ, Nolan. So, not only do you have like the whole stuff with Bane, and this is going to be a bit of a tangent, but I have to get this off my chest. I am a enormous fan of this arc, Batman Nightfall. And I had been waiting years to see a semblance of this arc on film. And when I heard they were going to do Bane and they were going to have Nightfall, I actually was kind of curious. I was like, how are they going to do this? And I still feel if they did it justice, the film would still suck, but it wouldn't be as insulting. It wouldn't feel like the Nolan brothers just shat out a couple turds and then slapped me in the face with them. But because they did such a shitty job with it, it's just so fucking aggravating. And it's another example of apathy. If they cared, if they actually had passion for this arc, they would not have fucked it up as badly as they did. You have Batman who shows up with no plan, and I hate how they have the audacity to say something along the lines of, "Oh, we were inspired by the Nightfall storyline and how Bane exhausts Batman mentally and physically." That never fucking happened in this script. He didn't exhaust Batman mentally and physically. What, with the whole thing with trying to steal Bruce Wayne's money? How did that exhaust him physically? Oh, so he exhausted him physically by making Batman go on a chase? On a single chase on his bat bike? Oh no, he's out of breath now. He can't fucking do it. What? So, in Nightfall, Bane has a brilliant plan. He breaks out Arkham. He breaks out every single prisoner in Arkham and runs them loose on Gotham City. He unleashes the terror of all of these criminals onto Gotham at once. This makes it so Batman has to think on his feet, use his wits, use everything that he knows, and then some, to beat the odds and get all these criminals and round them up and put them back behind bars where they belong. And it's some really exciting, fun stuff. And it pushes Batman to his limits. And when Batman is completely exhausted mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, after somehow beating the odds and managing to do the impossible and rounding up all these criminals and getting them back in prison, Bane then corners Batman and breaks him. But even at that moment, Batman still puts up a fight. And it's not as one-sided as it is in The Dark Knight Rises. So you feel so cheated. You know that word cheated, Nolan? I don't want to cheat my audience. Well, you fucking did that. And then some here, Nolan. I mean, really? You have this storyline. It's not hard to, I mean, to me, it was harder to fuck it up as badly as they did. I mean, all you needed to do is just have Bane and Batman have their first confrontation after Bane broke out all the prisoners out of Blackgate. You could still have the setup that you have at one point later on in this film. Instead of trying to remake Gangs of New York, make it so Batman has something to do. Make it so Christian Bale's Batman faces the biggest challenge of his life, where he has to use everything at his disposal, his wits, his brains, his brawn, in order to find a way to help Gordon and all these police officers corral and contain these prisoners. And would make for some really exciting, fun action. Even though Nolan's not that great at shooting these scenes, I think he could have found a way to still make it somewhat thrilling and suspenseful because of the fact that there's not a lot of time and we have to do this. You can make it so we have to do it in a certain amount of time or this will happen. Like there's ways to make it work. And Batman somehow does it. They get all those criminals and they get them contained, and then Bane corners Batman and breaks him. Then that could be a really cool moment. And then when that does happen, don't have it just be some shitty wannabe UFC fight where Batman's not using any of his martial arts skills. He's just huffing and puffing and just throwing punches like he's a drunk at a bar. Just it's like, what the fuck is this? Batman and Bane finally have their confrontation, and yeah, it has all the impact of a fucking pillow fight at a fucking sleepover. So yeah, fuck that up so much. I mean, the Nolan brothers, I mean, not only that, I mean, this storyline is not only one massive paperback long, not only two massive paperbacks long, but 3 fucking massive paperbacks long is the Nightfall storyline. I'm just going to have the little bit with Bane and Batman and fuck that all up and take a massive dump all over it and do the worst possible interpretation imaginable of it. Low rent, no effort version. I mean, it just makes me want to take all 3 of these fucking paperbacks and smack Nolan across the face with them. And his brother. Both of them. Just all 3 paperbacks. Just a trifecta of fucking beatdowns. Just fucking bitch slap them both. And if that isn't frustrating enough, they just lazily take other elements from other comic arcs. No Man's Land. Another fantastic arc where Roz and his crew, I think it's Talia as well, they find a way to blow up the Gotham Bridge and turn Gotham into a prison, essentially, because they make it so all of the citizens are trapped and they can't escape. And it's some really thrilling, exciting, interesting stuff. It's really captivating writing. It's a great arc. I highly recommend it. They just take the bridge part. That's it. Nothing else. And then they also took elements from some other comics. I heard they had some inspiration from The Dark Knight Returns, and I'm like, what? Bruce being old and needing mechanical assistance? Well, they don't do fucking anything with it, so there's just so many things they just crib and they cut and paste and just throw in there. And I understand there is such a thing as an interpretation, and it doesn't have to be a direct interpretation of the comic. I'm not expecting that. But what I'm not expecting is some half-assed, disrespectful take on it. And that's what these come across to me. Just half-assed, completely pathetic, just passionless takes on these arcs that are 10 times better than this fucking lazy-ass shit. So yeah, you have the confrontation with Bane and Batman. Batman gets broken, gets thrown in a hole. You have this whole, might as well be Nolan's asshole Gets thrown in this hole, and Bane starts his plan of throwing Gotham into anarchy. He reveals the truth of Harvey Dent because he somehow gets a hold of Gordon's resignation letter. Never explained. I guess it just fell out of the fucking sky again. He just made a wish and it came true. Just appeared in his hands magically. I mean, and even that, like, prior to that scene, there was nothing that made you think that Gordon was going to resign. And that he already had a resignation letter ready and on hand. And why the hell would he, in a resignation letter, reveal all of that anyway? I mean, maybe it's because he's just trying to get off his chest, but it just seems like kind of a weird place to do that. But anyway, okay, so that's how Bane reveals the truth to everybody. Is Gordon's resignation letter that he somehow just magically obtained. And Gotham just is supposed to devolve into anarchy? Why? Why isn't there like a group of people who are like, no, fuck that. I never liked Harvey Dent to begin with. I didn't trust the guy. Where's Batman? Batman's the real hero. And then you could have a moment where Bane could send a message and be intimidating and fuck up the guy who said, you know, Batman's the real hero, and tell people that if anyone else has any objections, you can join Batman in a hole and die. You'd be like, oh, okay, all right. Then you'd be like, man, Bane is a cold-hearted motherfucker. But no. He just says this fucking speech about you know, the truth and blah blah blah, and whoever the fuck cares. I don't understand most of what he's saying to begin with because of his silly fucking voice. What is up with Nolan and these silly fucking voices? He's the reason why Batman sounds like he's been smoking a million packs a day and is swallowing razor blades. And then he's also the reason why I guess he felt it was acceptable for Tom Hardy to sound as ridiculous as he does. And then you have all these other fucking characters, too many fucking characters. Not only do you have Gordon and Alfred and Lucius Fox, all of whom seem like they're completely wasted at the end, because Alfred just fucks off and is like, I'm out of here, I can't handle this bollocks. It's just like, I quit. I give up on you, Bruce, you're a lost cause. And Gordon spends most of the movie bedridden in a hospital. Lucius Fox is basically just there for a cameo. So you have those three, but they don't really have a lot to do. Then you have John Blake, who's just a setup to be the next Batman, and just a really lazy attempt at fan service. Oh, he's Robin. His middle name is Robin. Get it? Who gives a fuck? Why do we need this character? You got Miranda Tate, who's just a setup for the twist where she's the one that was the actual kid who escaped the prison, who escaped the hole. It wasn't Bane, it was her. All this time building up this character to be a badass, and she dies in a car crash. It looks like she just didn't know how to drive properly, or got in the tumbler while she's drunk off her ass. Like, what the f... Supposed to be this really badass, strong character. Dies in a car crash. You got Catwoman and this whole bullshit of she's a good guy, she's not, she should be trusted. No, she shouldn't. Batman Returns did that whole thing a million times better. And it actually worked. Like, you bought the good nature of Selina Kyle. You don't buy it here. It just feels incredibly forced. Just like the relationship with her and Bruce. And then you've got Matthew Modine's character, Peter Foley. And supposed to be this big deal. And he fucking dies off screen. Yeah, he has a lot of scenes. He's supposed to be an important, integral part of the plot, and fucking dies off screen. I don't care if the original plan was to have him get run over by the tumbler. That didn't fucking happen. That scene never showed up in the final cut, so it doesn't fucking matter. It's just, that's like the perfect way to describe a lot of the stuff in this film. You know that scene in Meatballs with Bill Murray where he's like, it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It's really how I feel about everything in this movie. I don't fucking care. None of it matters to me because I'm never invested in this story and this plot. So, also, there's another thing too with this script. What was even the point of it all? Like I said, it doesn't matter. What was the themes? What were the subtext? A lot of it seemed pretty lost on me. Was it about the truth? About the consequences of your actions? That's pretty generic shit. And it didn't really come across that clear. But then again, Bane is pretty much unintelligible in this fucking movie. So if it was all from his dialogue, then no wonder I didn't fucking get what the point was. This is, in my opinion, the worst Batman film. Batman and Robin is awful. It's embarrassing. But I don't think it really had a lot of potential. I felt the perspective and the position that the film had from the beginning was horribly flawed, and there was no way that it was ever going to work. This, all it needed was better writing. Passionate writing. Writing from writers who gave a shit about the source material and actually cared about Batman and about doing things right instead of just doing things. I mean, it's so bad that you think that maybe these writers did such a shitty job on purpose. Oh, Nolan and his brother, they tag teamed and they collaborated with one another, and they were like, we never want to do another Batman movie again. So let's write the worst Batman script imaginable with just plot holes out the ass. So many things that don't need to be there that we're going to have in there. We're going to take memorable, iconic comic book arcs and we're going to throw them in there with no care or regard or thought. Just throw them in there. Just because we want to make it so nobody will ever ask us to do another Batman film, because by doing that, we're showing that we don't really care about the character. We don't care about the source material. And we'll have some bullshit ending where it's kind of happy, but then, you know, kind of not because, oh, Batman's retired or whatever. But it doesn't really fucking matter. We'll try to tie things up in a little bow, but we're going to do such a horrible job before all of that nobody will ever want to see us touch this franchise again. Because at times it seems like that might be the case when it comes to how bad the writing is. Because it's kind of hard to wrap my brain around the idea that this wasn't some deliberate sabotage. But the thing is, it didn't work if that was the case, because after it came out, more people were still like, we want more of this. Please, sir, can I have some more? More bullshit? Why? I don't want any more of this bat-brained bullshit. I don't care if Batman gets blown up with the fucking bat and the bomb. I don't care if everybody fucking dies at the end of this movie and Gotham is in fucking smolders. It's a fucking crater. I don't fucking care. That's how much this film sucked the life out of me and the compassion that I had left for this franchise. So yeah, this script is just so many levels of shit. And that's why this review is almost an hour. I knew it was going to be long because there's just so many fucking things that are wrong with this fucking script. So many things that suck about this script. I just got another one right here. Another one that popped in there. Bane, built up to be the strong, badass, intimidating, the match for Batman physically and mentally. Batman doesn't even beat him. He gets shot and flown off screen by Catwoman, who rides up on Batman's bike and blows his ass away. In a literal blink or you will miss it moment. There are people that I know who missed that moment because it was so brief. And it's shot in a way that's just comical. It looks like a fucking cartoon. You're expecting to hear like the Willem scream in the background when he gets shot. Or the Goofy yell. Because it's just goofy as fuck. Bane, but it's fitting because Bane sounds goofy as fuck. So it makes sense that he dies in a goofy way. Speaking of dying in a goofy way, or maybe not goofy way, but in a fucking awful fashion, Marion Cotillard, supposedly really amazing actress, delivers a Razzie-worthy performance as Talia in her death scene. Ugh. I mean, it's perfect. It's like that scene is like the perfect way to describe the overall mindset and the energy level and the compassion for this film by the majority of the people involved. Uh, oh, God. Oh my fucking God. This point, this rant's gonna be as long as the fucking movie. I'm gonna try to wrap it up here. So, yeah, the script, man. I don't care about a lot of these characters. I don't care about this plot. I don't give a shit about anything. It doesn't matter to me. Batman somehow survives. Who gives a fuck? I'm just glad when this movie is over. Like, that's like the best thing for me is that when the end credits roll, I'm like, oh, thank fucking Christ. There is a God. Even the score is lazy. It's just more of the same notes from Zimmer and James Newton Howard. And not really much new other than the Bane Mata stuff, which I thought was fucking obnoxious and annoying. The film is already obnoxious and annoying enough as it is with Bane and his stupid voice. I didn't need to have this annoying choir in the background. Bane, Bane, Mata, Bane, Bane, Mata, Bane, Bane, Mata. Why don't you shut the fuck up? Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. The cast, Christian Bale's just fucking sleepwalking through this, just not putting a lot of effort into it, just being tired. He looks tired. It just seems like he's out of breath most of the time. Maybe it's because of the suit. It's just too hot. Maybe that's why Batman sounds the way he does in these movies. He's fucking suffering from heat exhaustion. About ready to pass out. Michael Caine, he's just here for the paycheck, and you feel bad for Caine because he's a really talented actor, and he did a good job in these films, and he's just got nothing to work with. I think really a big part of why he's not in the film that much is probably because he took one look at the script and like, this is fucking shit. Jaws the Revenge had a better script. Then you have Gary Oldman. They fucking waste Commissioner Gordon so much in this because you have all this time devoted to Blake and Matthew Modine's character. And I'm like, you know what? Gordon hasn't really had that much time to be commissioner at this point. And most of the time, he's just sitting on his ass, bedridden in a hospital. That's not what I want to see as a fan of Commissioner Gordon and as a fan of Gary Oldman. Anne Hathaway, I don't like her. She just comes across as a bitch in this. She really does. I don't like her character. I don't like her portrayal. I don't like the fact that she tries to rip off Michelle Pfeiffer from Batman Returns. I mean, watch the party scene. It's a clear-cut example of just trying to do the same thing, but failing. She's not sexy. She comes across as very awkward when she's trying to do that kind of stuff. She has no chemistry with Christian Bale whatsoever. They're supposed to be this couple. They're supposed to have this chemistry and this electric connection, and it's non-existent. Tom Hardy, I don't mind Tom Hardy. I think he's a talented, capable actor. He was fucking atrocious in this as Bane. I just could not take him seriously. He should have known better too. You know Nolan's not going to know better. He thinks Batman's stupid sounding, silly bat voice is fine. So there's no way that he's going to know any better when it comes to whatever you decide to come up with. So, Tom, you had to be the one to step in and be like, you know what? I don't think this works, man. I'm hearing myself and I sound fucking stupid. I'm supposed to be intimidating and I'm like, I was made in the darkness, Batman. I was molded by it. I sound like a cheap Bond villain. I sound like a Bond villain from James Bond Jr., the fucking cartoon. This is not going to work. I mean, all he had to do was just sound normal. Just sound normal. Why do you have to fucking talk like that? I was made in the darkness, Batman. I was molded by it. It's fucking simple and easy. Don't have to do really that much. Have the whole thing where I'm gonna see which breaks first. Your body or your spirit. And then you have my permission to die. It's fine. It's better. It doesn't take that much effort. Maybe it's also because he was also suffering from apathy. I don't give a fuck. That's a paycheck. Marion Cotillard. Like, this is the actress that Nolan fought for so much because they were going to recast her. They're going to do someone else because she was unable to do it. I think she was like pregnant or she was having some other complications or some other issues with scheduling or something. But he fought for her. He went to bat for her. And for what? Really, for what? This performance is forgettable. And just bad. All across the board. I feel bad for Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I want to like this character because he's supposed to represent the good of Gotham. And it just comes across as just too hammy. Like, it's very ham-fisted in terms of how good he is and how upstanding of a citizen he is. And also there's other stuff where he's like inexplicably psychic, able to figure out Bruce Wayne's identity, the drop of a hat. And that, I just didn't need John Blake. All the stuff that he did, you could have Gordon doing. Or Alfred. You could have Alfred do more. Or have Lucius Fox do it. I don't give a fuck about John Blake. I don't care about Matthew Modine's character. I don't care about Ben Mendelsohn. Is this fucking billionaire, socialite, fuckhead. So yeah, the cast, other than a few instances here and there who were trying but have a lot of crap to work with in terms of what's available, what's left in the toilet bowl. It's nothing that special to me. Nothing that consistently memorable or engaging when it comes to the performances. And then you get to the other technical merits. I mean, Wally Pfizer, he's a good cinematographer. But even the cinematography just left me flat. Just didn't really do a lot for me visually. The editing, this film needed another editor. It needed a team of editors. Maybe this is why that mindset I mentioned earlier from Nolan, maybe that's a big reason why the film is just so sluggish and why a lot of Nolan's films suffer in terms of pacing, because he thinks he's got to exhaust everything. Every storytelling opportunity, every line of dialogue, everything all in one movie. And it's like, dude, you know, there is something called savoring things. There's something called saving elements and using them later instead of using every single ingredient in the fucking kitchen. for your dish. You know, there's a lot of instances where too much flavor, too much spices, too much ingredients is not a good thing. And I think this is one of those examples. It's a dish that Nolan thinks is a culinary delight, and it tastes like fucking shit and ass and bat piss. And yeah, 165 minutes. Just way too fucking long. I mean, this is the kind of film where you will age a couple years while watching it. I probably got some gray hairs on my head right now from sitting down and watching The Dark Knight Rises. Man, I don't know what else to say. I think I've said it all. I think I've finally gotten to the point where I've just purged everything. And the only things that I have left is to say that The Dark Knight Rises, there's nothing that rises. It's a limp dick of a movie. It's a pathetic, weak conclusion to the trilogy. And the only thing that rises when I think about this film is my level of hatred and disgust. And also 2 middle fingers in this film's overrated, overhyped fucking face. Nolanites, here is your masterpiece. Now bury